Welcome back to the 990 podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to the 990 podcast. My name is Ray.
And I am Jay.
Hey, guys, thank you for joining us in on this episode today. We're going to talk about pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
We're going to straight into it. I think that people know us as nice people.
We are. I'd like to think so.
But, there's some things that we just don't blurb out externally. And we're going to go into them.
You're a Family Guy fan?
No, but I feel like that's...
Okay. Yeah. Peter Griffin, there was a segment where he would pretend to be part of a newscast, and his segment was what really grinds my gears.
Famous. Yeah. I hear it
sure.
all the time. But yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about. That.
What grinds our gears?
Yep, what grinds our gears.
All right.
Number one, we're just gonna be I don't have to explain this, but we're gonna go down a list of things and we're gonna talk about them. Number one, over enthusiastic fandom.
Overly enthusiastic fandom. All right. When I think about fandom in general, I mean, like, just pop culture in general, whether it's sports, whether it's movies, whether it's anything, music, you're gonna have a fandom base for anything, right?
Yeah.
And I think when we think about over enthusiastic, I think it just goes beyond just the normal what we would consider a normal fan base.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here. So for me personally, let's talk about sports first of all. You ever met somebody that is just so into a team and they have seemingly have zero affiliation with that team? Do you know of anyone like that?
I know one or two.
I don't know. Okay, so I mean, and I'm trying to be not so judgmental on this, but let's say you are overly enthusiastic about let's say the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
But you yourself have never been to Chicago. You don't know anybody there. You've never visited the place. There's nothing really tying you to the city of Chicago. But for whatever reason, that is your team and you are diehard no matter what. You bleed blue and orange.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, I think we're kind of in a unique situation being in Hawaii.
We are. That's
right?
why it's kind of like, huh.
Yeah. So I do understand, proximity wise, being in Hawaii, you kind of have to look at it like, well, we didn't grow up with any professional sports teams, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it does make it kind of difficult. And I do realize that a lot of the fandom in Hawaii, a lot of times you gravitate towards the teams that were televised.
Yeah, I think so.
You ever notice that?
Yeah. Like you said, Hawaii is in a unique situation.
For sure. I mean, okay, let's think about like the most popular sports teams for Hawaii in general.
Okay.
Generally speaking, probably the 49ers.
The Raiders.
Yep. I want to say the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's
Those kind of like the three ones that I've seen.
As of late, probably Seattle.
San Diego Chargers too is
there
one.
You go.
Yep.
Absolutely. Basketball wise, you always think about the Bulls and you think about the Lakers. Yep. Sometimes you got some Boston fans as well, but usually it's what was televised heavily is kind of what you kind of gravitated towards, right?
Sure. Yeah. I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. Are you yourself a sports fan?
Not so much. I don't go die hard. Okay. Now, when I think of over enthusiastic fans, I always think about the ones that are just like super die hard that are just like they're the best, everyone sucks kind of.
Yes, there's that, but there's also the when you adapt the motto of we.
Well, what do you mean?
So it's like, oh, we won. We're the champions. You know what I mean? Like,
does that grind your gears?
Sometimes. Especially when this person has zero sports prowess whatsoever. Like, bro, did you ever play football? Like, what are you talking about here? You got the.
I know you're saying this person.
No. But when I say this person, I'm not talking about anybody in particular.
No. But it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking of like the couch quarterbacks that maybe just did not have the wherewithal themselves to be able to succeed in sports. Therefore became just overly engulfed in the fandom. And maybe just kind of living out vicariously through these players.
Or their glory days has long been,
that's another one too, right?
Past.
For sure. Yeah, there's a big one. also, I mean, not just professional sports, even college. Like sometimes people are just kind of akin to like a certain school, and I'm like, what's your affiliation to the school?
Yeah, you know what though? For Hawaii guys, it's like growing up, I was like, okay, who's my team then?
Yeah,
that was my question at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of hard to. You got to have some type of affiliation.
For sure. Well, okay, so like talking about Mats, we talked about Mats in the other pod, but Mats is a big time UH fan, but grew up here, right? Yeah, he has an affiliation. He's got a love
goes to the games.
Goes to the games. He loves the Bows, win, lose or draw. Like that's his team. I get it. I totally get that. What I kind of got annoyed with back in the day was when Mariota was at Oregon, and then all of a sudden everybody was just claiming Oregon. Guess what? Who graduated from Oregon? I actually went there, right? So therefore, I feel like I have a little bit more to brag about. But
it feels like I feel like for you, it's like I shouldn't have to explain myself because I graduated from there.
I know. But once again, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk here, but that does grind my gears. What about so talk about other types of fandom, like let's talk about like
anime guys. That's so one of the podcasts we talked about it, but back in high school, only I would not nerds, but those
nerds,
the weird nerds. Yeah. That was in iQuad. All you guys, you got the weird anime couple kissing and one kissing at one point in recess, and then being mad at the last 5 minutes of recess. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But now you got a ton of people who's into anime.
Huge.
So
again, there's fandom, and then there's the overly enthusiastic fandom.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've been to Comic-Con twice, bro. I went into the Heart of Darkness, and I went willingly, right? So
there you go.
I forced Tristan. I forced Tristan to come with me. But you got to remember, I went entirely on my own accord. Like I wanted to see this, and I think I'm a pretty big fan. I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed comic book nerd. I love the movies. I love the source material. When I went there, I realized that my level of fandom did not even register.
That's crazy, right?
And there's a merit to being that excited about anything. But at some point, you also think to yourself, like, man, like, how do you have so much time to dedicate?
How do you get there?
Well, I mean, or I think for me more was like, how do you have so much time to dedicate to one specific thing?
Passion, man.
Passion, for sure. What's your take on let's think about what's the big one now, like K-pop, boy bands, whatnot,
it feels like that just came out recently.
It did,
the last decade, right?
Well, boy bands have been around since
boy bands,
right. I guess for me, I can understand the phenomenon of you grew up watching NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Now that they're touring again as an adult, you're like, I feel connected to these folks, right? There's a fandom because of just familiarity and again, you have time. You've spent time and dedication to listening to these people and supporting them. But then I always find it weird where like you kind of have like these new groups that just kind of come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they just get an instant fandom. But more so with the adults that are kind of infatuated with these groups.
It's kind of wild. There are fans of like ages spanning, past 30s. Not that it's wrong. It's just kind of interesting.
For sure.
And a lot of I know a few. I know a few Josh's friends that are huge K-pop fans, and they'll fly out and
100%.
Yeah, and which is cool. It's just kind of like, I wonder what the side note. I wonder what the
I think it's a community, and so I know this is a pet peeve of mine, but I do want to kind of give some grace here because I feel like a lot of these fandoms have a community where people don't feel judged, and here I am judging them, right? But so I can understand that. And when it comes to just ageism in general, like there's ageism everywhere, so why should you feel that in a community that you really, really feel attached to? But it's just kind of more maybe not so much of an irritation, more of a fascination of mine of how people just fall into things so heavily,
I just don't want you to have a Chicago Bears tattoo when you haven't lived there, or
I got
not just lived there, but
for sure,
haven't put in your time. I guess.
You go, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got here? Let's move on.
Let's move on. Being confidently wrong.
Oh.
Being confidently wrong.
Okay, so the way I interpreted that is being confidently wrong. I'm thinking of when you are so confident that you are right and then you get proven wrong.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I hate that. Okay. Okay, so anybody that knows me knows that my professional life is night and day from my personal life. My professional life, I will be the first one to admit wrongdoing.
Yeah.
I'll be the one to just jump on the grenade, and if it's for the greater good, I'll be like, my bad, no problem.
Yeah.
My personal life could not be more opposite than that.
Really?
Yes, I will fight to the death if I believe something is true, and then when I find out that it's not true, it is the worst feeling in the world. Mainly because I put so much time and thought and effort into proving my point. And then when I get proven wrong, it is so defeating.
Take this fat L.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what's even worse? It only comes with my wife. Yeah. She is so confident in her level of research and knowledge. And she will die on most hills. And there are times where I am just so sure that I am right on something.
Yeah.
And then we will fact check it, and I am wrong, and I will not hear the end of it. What about for you?
I think it comes along with the people who are always think they're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have that attached. I see this person being confidently wrong attached with this type of person that's always feels like they're right. And yeah, I mean, no one wants to be around that person where they're always correcting you. Not that it's wrong, but there's time for a correction, and if it's even a thing to correct at that moment of time.
Yes, right? I mean, like if you're in the middle of a thought and somebody's just like, well, actually, that's wrong. You're like, let me finish my thought. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know? Yeah. Or like when you get called out in front of other people. Yeah. You're like, bro, just let me live this lie. Let me get this lie off.
Come on, man. Just give me time. Give me time.
Let me cook. I was about to get there.
Yeah. But yeah, man, those people are. I mean, interruption. Let's go there. Just interrupting.
Yeah.
There's depends on what kind of interruption it is.
Well, I mean, I just told you I'm notorious for interrupting. And you know, I think in my defense, my interruption. I'm just trying to make myself feel better here, but sometimes I feel like it forged the conversation.
Forged?
I'm trying to move the conversation forward.
Gotcha.
So like sometimes, like if I interrupt inadvertently, it's maybe because I feel like, okay, like let's either redirect or, you know, like maybe I have something else to add to this conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious of it because I do understand how frustrating that can be when you are being interrupted by somebody else. So I am trying a little bit more. I've listened to a few of these podcasts and I do it quite a bit. So I am sorry, my friend.
No, but interrupting, I think, again, there's a definition where I think it's like for them to be heard.
Yeah.
So not the intention of what you just mentioned, but for them to take your space or space and to be like, hey, it's me.
So basically Kanye West with Taylor. You know, to this day, anytime I don't know what meme to send, you just got to send the Kanye shrug. You know what I mean? Like that kind of is all encompassing, man. Yeah. Like that can mean 100 different things.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Best thing ever. But
that was an interruption for sure.
That was an interruption, and that lives rent free in my brain for eternity. That is 100% probably the best example of an interruption that I've ever seen.
Oh, yay. Next one. Yeah. Non-contributors.
Non-contributors.
Yeah, man. I think about group projects.
Okay. Speak on that.
Do they realize they're not contributing, or?
Well, okay, so you have people that just coast by, and you have other people that feel more self-important than they actually are. Mm-hmm. You know, so if you talk about a group project, again, greater good, you're talking about something where you would hope there's an equal contribution, right?
Yeah.
But it's never that case, unfortunately.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
School, work, friendships, family. You would
potlucks.
Can we go into that?
We can.
All right, man.
We got.
What's your okay?
We have a name for them.
What?
Aku birds.
Oh yeah. Okay. Can you explain that?
They just come and they just pick off. It's non-contributors. That's what they are.
Yeah, man.
Non-contributors.
You ever been to like a potluck and then just someone just rolls up and you're just like, cool, what'd you bring?
My presents.
Yeah, exactly. Work, it happens quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We recently tried to do some some potlucks.
Okay.
And I think two people brought food, me being one of them.
Just napkins and rice.
Guess who had to buy their own lunch that day? I was like, I'm pretty sure I brought food, but no, let me just go buy lunch.
Oh,
doesn't have anything here.
That's tough, man. It's like, yeah, you sent a text out to 10 people, 15 people, and then 2-3 people show up with food.
You know what's hard? Okay, so there are times where people maybe like they just didn't know. I understand that. Like, okay, so at work, maybe you didn't know, maybe you didn't get the memo, right? Okay, cool. Food's out, everybody, cool. When I think about non-contributors, though, I'm just thinking about people that willingly go into situations and they know, like, hey, I didn't bring anything to the table here, whether it's something tangible or whether it's just like I didn't contribute, period, right? But yet I am going to benefit off of this situation.
The ones knowing that.
Yes, 100%. You ever come across that in your professional life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, school mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you just got these... they just ride the free ride, I guess. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm too nice to tell them off, but at this day and age in in this stage of my life, if that ever happens, I'm might be like jokingly call them out, like,
yeah, man, for sure, absolutely. No, you have to. I mean, it sucks, right? Like, I feel like just in general, we've kind of our society in general, for the most part, is pretty non-confrontational.
Yeah,
but if you don't put people in check from time to time, there's just no accountability, and then nobody likes to be that guy to have to like be like, hey man, that's not cool or whatever, right? But at the same time, I mean, they're gonna just continue to coast. Sometimes you'll put somebody in check, and then it might not make any difference. That might just be who they are inherently, right?
Yep.
But also sometimes people they're just naive and they don't realize, like,
So hard to gauge that though. Sometimes.
It is for sure. But again, we always talk about how unique the Hawaii experience is. Like, I was I'm blown away, like, just the way we were raised. Like, when you come to somebody's house, break something. I don't know. Just kind of makes kind of common sense, right?
Yeah. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but yeah, like growing up, man, Hawaii is different, man. Even now, I feel like we're kind of losing that in a sense, because maybe kids don't they don't go over a friend's house anymore, or they don't there's just no people going to a friend's house, or because I learned a lot of that stuff as a kid. When we're going over to a friend's house or hanging out, it's just Hawaii things.
Well, it's values. A lot of it is values, right? Your parents, and again, not necessarily even always tangible things, but it's more like, if you let's just say something where say you go over to somebody's place and then they're working on something. Yeah. Just the simple offer of help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I go somebody's house and then like they're working on something and I go sit on the couch and watch TV? Like, you ask them if you need a hand, right? Whether it's your neighbor, whatever. And that's just something you would hope that would be ingrained in people. Yeah. Not for everyone though.
Not for everyone. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We're going to go into entitlement.
Ooh. All right, man.
Man, this goes back to the value thing. It's like, where did they learn this from?
For sure. Okay, so when you think about entitlement, what's your definition?
Someone that thinks they're entitled to with items or services.
Okay.
That actually are not entitled to.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes people come in into a space and they just have this air about them, like as if they're just deserving of something that they haven't quite earned. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I think it's tough when you're in the service industry. Because again, you're paying for a service, so there is a level of expectation there.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the people that kind of go above and beyond that, where they're just kind of like, you know what? No matter what you're gonna do, it's not gonna satisfy them. That's always hard. And I think there's a term for that, right? Karens, right? But,
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, entitlement in general is just when you feel like you're owed something. You know? And I'm not about that, man. I feel like at this day and age, everybody's working hard. Everybody's just trying to get by. So when you come into a space and you just feel like you're owed something when you haven't put that time in, or just established why you deserve something, and you just expect it, not okay.
Yeah, oh, for sure. That's definitely a pet peeve.
It's just a different level. It's a different level of privilege. But again, I do feel like some people, they've never been taught otherwise. They just grow up with this air about them, they just feel like they have some type of entitlement to things.
Right.
I know that in Hawaii, once again, just a unique experience, and I'm not calling it tourist. I mean, we need tourism, obviously, but I think sometimes there's this level of entitlement when people fly here. They're like, well, I'm on vacation, therefore, everything needs to be catered to me.
Yeah.
That experience. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but not everybody here is here to serve you, right? Yeah, I know.
That's another one we could go into. But some visitors and people that vacation here, I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like on the plane they should have a video that tells you what aloha is and what Hawaii is all about, and what you do when how to present yourself, how to conduct yourself when you're out here, because it's not like a free-for-all. You just don't, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Okay, so just working in Waikiki, I see so many crazy things. Something I actually mentioned to my coworker the other day was the number of people coming into the store that just look like they got the living shit beaten out of them. I mean, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. So in my head, I'm like, and it's always people that just have lost their stuff and discombobulated. And there's the human element of me like, wow, man, I hope this guy's okay. But there's also the part of me I'm like, probably deserved it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you had too much to drink. I don't know if you said the wrong thing to the wrong person. I don't know if you just were kind of just feeling entitled to something, but somebody learned you real quick. And I don't know. There's just a little level of satisfaction sometimes.
just a little
bit. Yeah, man.
All right, let's move on to the next one. If you're cool with that.
Yeah, man. Bad drivers.
Number one. There's categories for that.
Go ahead.
Okay. People that drive slow on the freeway. That's one for sure.
Okay. Well, so given speed limit here is very low.
Yeah. Well, so on the freeway it's like 50.
Okay.
People be driving 45.
Yep.
5 miles per hour might not seem much. Okay, I want people to understand. This is coming from a safety reason.
Okay.
For myself.
Okay.
So I don't like it when people aren't following the rules when it's made to be made so everyone's safe.
Yeah.
45 or 40, it's like, bro, what are you doing? You're holding up traffic.
Yes.
So there's just so many things that could go wrong.
There's a domino effect when people drive slow on the freeway. Because again, so it's sad. I always do you drive past and look and see what type of driver it is? You
Sometimes
ever do that?
I side eye them.
I always do it, and not necessarily the grill. Sometimes, most times the grill. Okay, let's be honest. I give him a stink eye, but most time I just want to think like, okay, this person better be
old,
some old person,
super old,
right? Because sometimes I'll look and I'm like, bro, you're way too young to be driving like this.
Yeah.
But and I think what they don't understand is it just creates this effect where if someone's driving slow, people get impatient and then they speed up and tend to be reckless.
Yeah.
And then even though your intent was maybe to be safe by going slow, you kind of create more of a dangerous situation inadvertently, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I have noticed that.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, and again, it's always a safety reason, and that's why I'm just like, I get super upset when people do that. Another one, driving, signaling.
Oh, okay, that's a big one.
Signaling. So I always tell Josh, like, I get so upset when they don't signal because it's a form of communication.
Yep.
You're just communicating you're going left or you're going right. That's it.
Yeah.
The main reason so that so that someone knows where you're going.
Yeah.
So that they could be safe and just
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
are you talking mainly on the freeway and then somebody cuts in front of you, or are you talking about like when you're at a stop and then you don't know if somebody's gonna go straight and they take a right, or both?
You're both, man. Both. Yeah. There's Yeah, there's scenarios I can go in detail, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
But just signal, man. That way I know that I can maybe go around you if that's a safe, Or sometimes if you're driving, you're driving knowing that, assuming that they're just going straight.
Right.
But then if you don't signal, you don't slow down. I don't slow down. And then what happens if someone is crossing the street and they suddenly stop?
Yeah.
But they don't say little things like these, these scenarios. I play in my head so many times,
sure.
a bunch of them. But you can't explain that to people.
Yeah, no, I get
like
it.
what ifs.
I get it. One of the big ones for me, when you let someone go and they don't throw you the shotgun or the wave.
Yeah, that's another one.
Right? Okay,
that's another one.
In there've been so many times where like I'm driving and then somebody's like signaling and I'm all like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna let them go. Yeah. And then you think to yourself like, okay, just throw the shotgun, bro. It's gonna be okay. I swear to God, you throw the shotgun, it's cool. Don't worry about it. I don't care if you came real close to my car.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen,
the
shit that just comes out of my mouth is just so insane. But I mean, it's infuriating. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those courtesy things, right? And I am realizing that is once again a unique thing to Hawaii. I've driven in the mainland, and most times people don't acknowledge it at all.
Nuts.
Yeah, they'll cut you off. They'll do whatever, and they don't. It is what it is, right?
Acknowledge it,
But I think even more so because we grew up with that culture of like, hey, throw waves for the shaka.
Yeah.
When you don't get it, you're like, bro, what? Like,
yeah. You know what? It's funny how the results of you letting someone go could tilt your emotion super extremely different. You can get super mad, or you can feel like super good about it. Like,
100%, right?
Like, I feel so good every time.
I've been so mad. Like, say somebody cuts you off, and then they just sorry.
Yeah.
And you're like,
the situation.
You're like, hey,
we're good.
Yeah,
solid.
Man, not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
When they do the exact same thing and they keep driving, you're like, yo, man, you're gonna get in an accident. I'm gonna laugh. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Your thoughts just go there because you're absolutely right.
Oh,
just
every time.
Simple gesture.
Every time.
Super simple gesture.
I tell Josh, like, joking but not joking. It's like, I hope you don't get into an accident someday.
You're like, I don't wish death upon you, but I hope that car flips a couple.
We don't say the second part. But
tagging onto that, people that purposely run red lights.
Yeah.
You ever been caught in a situation where someone almost hits you because they run a red light?
Yeah,
bro. Come on.
I don't know. Sometimes I want to say sometimes, but I don't know. For people that, like you said, purposely run it. Yeah.
There have been times where like the yellow comes and I'm like, going too fast, and if I brake, I'm halfway through the intersection. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that, but like when it's red and you keep going, like, I mean, I'm sure everybody has probably done it at some point where they just did not realize and we're not paying attention. And probably being a reckless driver. But there are times where you're like, dude, that guy's not slowing down. He just goes.
Yeah.
And he just does not care, like what happens. And, like how many times you see videos of people getting T-boned because of something like that, man.
No, for something so simple to... Yeah.
For sure, man. But, gotta shout out my boy. Dash Camera Hawaii, dude.
Dash Camera Hawaii.
For sure. What's crazy is that homie has his dash cam and it's like over a decade of footage and it just picked up some of the wildest things in traffic.
Yeah.
But it's wild out there, man. Honestly, stay safe, drive good, use your signals.
Use your
shakas.
Use your shakas. Yeah. Drive at the speed limit, maybe. Hey, we're not done yet, though. Bad parking.
Oh, okay. Go into it.
This is probably my top one. Oh my goodness. Ala Moana.
Okay.
We're going to Macy's, I think.
Yeah.
I park it's not the bad for me, it's not so much the bad parking that I see. And it still annoys me. But then it's the one where it's like I come back to my car and someone's parked next to me who does not give me any room at all.
Oh, dude.
Those are the worst ones. And I'm just like, for a split second, imagine in my mind, like just opening my door, like
I love how this guy just imagines it. I do that. I do that. You know why? Because in my head, I'm all like, bro, I don't care about my car that much.
Yeah, I know, that's why.
Like, I don't know who you think I am. I really don't care about my car that much. I will literally like cut my nose off to spite my face.
Bro, come on, man. Like, you probably deserve that, man. Like, do you not see the room that you're giving the other person?
Yeah.
And these are all like based off considerations.
Yeah.
Anytime someone's like not considered like that, oh my goodness, that just like
or when they park in two stalls and you're like,
come on, man.
I'm in my head like, dude, if you love your car that much or you're that worried, don't drive that car.
Don't drive the car.
I mean, honestly, like, it's so classic when people like have, nice cars.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, I'm gonna drive and park like an ass, and you're like, bro, I mean, honestly, you're just kind of asking for it, but you probably shouldn't be driving that car if you are that worried that something's gonna happen to it.
The worst ones are the ones closer to the shop or whatever.
Yeah.
I do appreciate like those bigger trucks that park far.
Yeah.
That take ups too.
Yeah.
I'm like, these guys know. These guys know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have to take up the stall, go park and walk it in. It's usually when somebody just parks like a jerk because they just feel like they're entitled to it.
Hey, that's another one.
Yeah,
man, speaking about bad parking, we're gonna move on to people not putting away their shopping carts.
I think we talked about this, man.
Did we?
I think we talked about this before, and just might have been a unpopular opinion.
Okay.
My opinion stands on that. Like, you're a jerk if you know. Like, no, honestly, I mean, okay, if you're nowhere near one of those return,
is that a hall pass?
Yeah, if you're nowhere near it, that's fine. Put it on a curb. Put it like somewhere. Don't leave it in the stall.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you're within line of sight to something, just return it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Again, it's just a consideration thing, right?
It is. Yeah. When I see, it's cool because when I see the older folk, far away. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity, help them out. Help them out.
I've been people probably think I'm the old folk now. I've had guys come to my car and be like, "I'll take your car." I'm like,
"No, you won't."
No, they're like, "Hey, uncle, I'll take your car." I'm like,
"No, bro."
I'm uncle now, by the way.
I'm uncle.
People call you uncle?
Yeah. So first time.
Yeah.
Granted, this was like the one that I heard loud and clear.
Yeah.
Was freaking Shave Ice in Oikele.
Okay.
Mountain Magic.
Yeah.
So I order Shave Ice. Wait, and I'm like, they call it, and they're like, oh, whatever, strawberry, whatever. And I go up, and she's like, oh, thanks, uncle. I just walk back quietly and be like, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
It's a different level, man. Once you hit uncle, you are in a different age bracket.
Yeah.
I don't get carded anytime I buy alcohol.
Really?
Never.
Oh,
never.
You need the Asian face.
I don't know, dude. I'm okay. So the other day, I'm not kidding. I don't know if the lady was blind or I don't know if I just look old. Okay, so she was helping me, and this is at Foodland, and she was the nicest woman. A little bit older, but she asked me if I was a senior. She asked me if I had a senior, like if I got a senior discount.
What?
And I don't know if
Trish is gonna love this.
I don't know if she didn't clean her glasses that day, or if I just look wild. But she kind of maybe she just asked that to everybody. But I was like, lady, you just ruined my day,
my year.
But yeah, it's happening, man. It's happening.
We gotta follow up on that. We gotta be like, hey, Auntie, do you ask everyone this?
For sure.
Yeah.
How about this one? Standing up when the plane arrives at a gate. Or you know what? Let's open this up to just how about plane etiquette? Things that bother us.
Oh, plane etiquette. Yeah. Well, the standing up. Let's start off with down.
Okay.
Standing up. I'm just like, you guys gonna be standing up for another 10 minutes, like.
Well, obviously they want to get off the plane, right?
They do.
So, right.
No one's moving, and I'm just like, do you want to sit back down or?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I don't remember one flight that people didn't stand up.
I understand when there's a connecting flight involved, potentially. But then there's also the people that are just like, it's usually when someone's flying home, they're like, I just want to get home. And I understand that sentiment, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, I mean, 'cause you got to get home. You just ruined my year. But yeah, it's happening, man. It's happening.
Oh,
you still got to get to your car or your mode of transportation. Like you got to get your bags, you got to get out, like there's a lot involved. Like that 5 minutes that you think you're saving by just kind of jamming up the line here. Like I don't understand.
It doesn't do anything. That's why I'm just like, don't you want to like have another 5 minutes of rest or you know what I mean? Yeah. Any other plane etiquettes?
Oh man. Big one is when people are like barefoot or like got their feet out. That's gross.
Have you ever had someone
next to me with their feet out? Thankfully, no. Yeah, I've seen all kinds of videos of people just like having their feet up against someone's headrest and whatnot on the back, and
I'm calling somebody.
Oh man,
that's
that's gross.
Yeah,
that's gross, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen what's another one? I mean, you got a daughter, but I know that when she gets of age, you're not gonna let her run wild in the aisles.
Nah, fam.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, it's kind of like free roam. I'm like,
for sure,
it's not free roam, guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep your kids in check, fam.
Oh, dude, yeah. Honestly, just nasty. Like kids. I mean, let's be honest, kids are kind of gross.
Kids be kids, yeah.
Kids be kids, Like, but yeah, I a couple flights ago, Tristan and I were on a flight. Kids were just going and just being crazy. Dang. And then for whatever reason got sick and then had to throw up. And I saw this entire thing play out. The parents are just literally letting them do whatever. The guy's running up and down and then got sick on the plane. Then he started like gagging and I was like, oh, it's going down. And then he throws up and his mom catches the throw up in her hands. And this is like just a couple seats from us. And I'm like, we are never having kids. The look of horror on her face. But then she also knew like, oh man, like this is my kid. And I'm like, yeah, you probably should have left him home, little bastard.
Sucking guy. And what did dad do?
He was watching Netflix. I don't know. He was just chilling.
Guy.
I know, man. But again, once again, Tiny, it's so funny how a lot of my pet peeves just kind of go back into consideration, entitlement, and accountability, right? So sometimes when people don't put their kids in check, especially in public spaces, like
100%.
Like I'm not saying like, okay, you don't have to like punish them or do anything like that or whatever, but at least put them in a place where they know their behavior is not right or appropriate in that moment. I have a big thing where like people let their children just behave however, and maybe it's just the philosophy of like, I don't want to punish my kids. That's fine if that's what you want to do, but let them run wild at home. Don't let them do that like at the store or on a plane.
Yeah.
Man,
I agree 100%.
For sure. You ever been on a plane where somebody just got super drunk?
No.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was me one time. I got super drunk on a plane.
Serious? Yeah. What? Are you a crazy drunk though?
No. Okay, so, I remember one time I got on a plane and I don't know how they let me on the plane. I was so intoxicated. This is like back in the glory days here, days of thunder. And it was a short flight. But I remember taking off on the Big Island. I was drinking that entire day. I don't know how they let me on the plane. I got on the plane and I woke up in Oahu and I did not know where I was. I didn't have my phone and I didn't have I couldn't find my blackout drunk. And I just remember like, I have no idea what is happening right now. I woke up and I saw people. So from example, don't be that guy, but just in general, I mean, like, have a few drinks. It's fine. If you wanna have a few drinks on a plane, that's your business.
Yeah.
But control your alcohol, man.
Yeah, sure.
Especially if it's gonna impede on someone else's experience.
That's the whole thing.
That's the big thing.
Once that happens,
I'm hoping that I blacked out and just went to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I wasn't doing anything too crazy. But you see all these videos of dudes just like attacking other passengers and like flight attendants. Man, if
I was kind of nuts.
Oh, dude, I'm not about that life, man. I was like had these really twisted fantasies of if I was in a situation. It's easy to talk tough when you're just watching videos on YouTube, right?
No, I do it all the time.
If I was there, I don't know. Like I always think to myself, like, is my job worth it? Like, if somebody's swinging on me, like, is my job worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Depends on the day.
Yeah. Depends on the day. Where your emotions at today?
Yeah. I'm in my head. I'm like, are the cameras out? Like, I ain't gonna let this guy knock me out.
Yeah.
I'm going down swinging.
But all of those things you have to think in like a split second, right?
Oh man, I know, dude. I know for sure. But yeah, shout out to people that got to deal with irrational people. You know, for sure, for sure. What about people that are not punctual?
Yo, my my wife one time.
That is not the way to start off that sentence.
Start off. Oh man, her sister calls, and where are you guys? Blah blah blah. We're already here, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, we're 5 minutes away." I look at her. We're 20 minutes away. I'm like,
I'm gonna ask something super naive and borderline borderline inappropriate, but I do want to ask this.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as Filipino time?
Oh yeah, yeah. Filipino time. You're just you just don't arrive on time.
What?
I suspect.
Okay. Well, okay. So me knowing you and knowing how punctual you are, and then but also having multiple examples personally and hearing a lot of examples of when people are just like. It's like they don't own a clock or something. Like, I don't understand that, but it's something where it's actually people have been like, oh, they're on Filipino time. I'm like, oh, is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Just showing up late.
Just showing up. No, I don't think it's intentional, but they just get late ready.
Yeah.
Just get ready late.
Gotcha. Okay.
It depends what the occasion is, right?
Okay.
Otherwise,
grad party starts at 5. Showing up 7:30.
7:30. Yeah. But it's funny because that's my whole shift with realizing how important being punctual was when my dad was telling me like. Because I think that's one of his pet peeves. Too.
Yeah.
And his thing was like, I don't understand why your mom's blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say it that way, but he's just explained to me, and he just says like, I don't know what's hard about it. Just get ready 10 minutes earlier than you would.
Yeah,
and I get it. It's funny too because Josh's dad, late dad, he same thing. But she told me a story where he got so pissed at my mother-in-law, he just left and told her, "Drive yourself."
No way.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I can see myself doing that if it comes to that point. Like if it continues to happen. Yeah. It hasn't happened recently.
That's so funny.
And we've been good with whatever, but for me, I'm always just like, okay, you have to. Just respect the time frame that if you say you're gonna be there.
You know, well, okay, so I think it's one thing if you yourself are late, right? Because you can jump on that and you can be like, okay, my bad, whatever. Yeah. When someone else makes you late, it's tough.
It's different. Yeah, it's different.
That really grabs my gears. You know, because
I love you, hon.
Yeah. So Tristan, so when we were running late. Let's say we have a dinner reservation, right? And I'm like, bro, we gotta call the restaurant. She's like, no, it's fine. So rather than getting ready faster, she just drives faster.
So that's another reason why it's a pet peeve because I don't want you to risk yourself.
Yes,
driving quick for if it's a. And I'm so glad like our pediatrician office tells us this every time we're late. They're just like. Oh, don't worry! Don't rush. Drive safe.
Yeah,
we're fine. Yeah, and I'm so thankful when they say that to me.
For sure.
I don't want to do that. Like, you have to rush there.
Yeah. Well, so like appointments is a big thing for me because I do realize that people have time frames for a reason, right? Yeah. So whenever I'm late to an appointment or work or anything like that could potentially inconvenience someone else, it jams me up, man. Like, so for me at work, like. I would rather be 2 hours late than 2 minutes late. Exactly, right? Yeah. Like, and even though some people like that's minor, whatever. Like, it's to me, I'm like, if I'm 2 hours late, something happened. You know what I mean? Like, something happened. Where if I'm a couple minutes late, like I just didn't. On you. I didn't plan accordingly. Yeah, you know what I mean. So that's kind of a big thing with me. Like I know, like in the past, I did have issues being punctual, and I think the older I get, the more I realize like it's important. You got to respect other people's times. Yeah. But,
and I think that comes with like the industry that I'm in, and when I did weddings and stuff like that. Yeah. I like never want to be there at the time I say. I have to always be there at least 30. Yeah. But I try to be there 45. because there's a lot to set up. And,
it's good.
And so that's with me. And
That
so
makes sense.
It comes along.
I get that.
Yeah, but yeah, punctual. Let's move on to the next one. One-upping.
Oh, the Mr. Me Too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well,
not that Me Too, but
let's clarify. Before the Me Too movement, which was very, very important that movement did happen, the idea of the Mr. Me Too, you remember Pharrell in the clips? Pharrell, yeah. They coined that term, Mr. Me Too. There was a song, but basically the idea of anybody that if you are proud of something, they need to go and show you up and do something bigger. Yeah. That's the Mr. Me Too.
Yeah.
The one-upper.
Mr. Me Too, yeah.
Do you have one-uppers in your life?
I do.
What's his name? Call him out.
Well, funny thing is, once I see them on my radar, I just don't hang out with them anymore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Just bad juju.
You know what's hard is when you recognize that somebody's a one-upper, you realize that they're not invested in you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It just seems like a narcissistic trait almost.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is the best ones are when you're just on the sidelines and you're within the circle. Mm-hmm. One person speaks, the Me Too person goes up, and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, whatever." Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, what about you, Ray?" And then you nonchalant, you just say like, "Oh yeah, I had this," which trumps,
the best, the best. Yeah. When you got that ace in the hole, you're like, wait till I drop this one.
Yeah, without wanting to use it, it's just there,
But I mean, so again, I consciously, I always struggle with the idea of, because I do have an interrupting problem. I don't ever want to come across as a one-upper.
Do you have an interrupting problem?
Sometimes I think I do, man.
Has this been verified by someone?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's me again, mainly I don't do it at work. I don't do it in my professional life. I don't do it I think it's usually around friends. Really? So I don't ever want my interruption or that bad habit of mine to come across as a one-up type of situation. Like my goal is never to one-up somebody. I am genuinely interested in what somebody has to share. Yeah. Sometimes I just get anxious about what they're sharing, and I just want to either know more, so I either ask another question or whatnot.
Right.
But a lot of times when you think about the one-uppers, it's like they just can't wait to talk.
They can't wait. That's the ones you don't like, bro.
Yeah, because they're just like, you're like, and you can see them, you're like, you're talking, and then they're ready to like, oh, it's about that time. And you're like, all right, go ahead.
That's hilarious, bro.
And you can see it coming from a mile away, right?
Yeah.
When sometimes it's so stupid, right? You're just like, oh, I ate it here, and they're like, oh yeah. Well, I ate here, and you're like, all right,
yeah.
You're like, okay, cool. Like, what? Why is that
seriously?
such a?
Yeah. I'm just like, bro, what's going? Are you a single child? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? There's got to be a study with one-uppers one day. I'm sure someone studied them before.
Guaranteed.
What do you think is the commonalities between all of them?
You hit it. Narcissism is a big thing. I mean, God, narcissism is such a catchphrase as of late. I think like that's just one of those words that a lot of people are utilizing. It's become very popular, but the idea of somebody that is narcissistic, it's been around since the beginning of time. It's just someone that unfortunately might not be self-aware of how they come across. Right. So, whether they're doing it purposely or not, a lot of times narcissists, they just believe that whatever they have to contribute to a conversation, to a situation, is more important than the next. Right? So they're very anxious to be able to share because they want that validation and that feeling, that euphoric feeling of like, wow, I got to say what I did, or and that's, again, you kind of got to feel bad for people. Like if you really dig down into it, it is a mental illness, right? Where someone's like, it's a condition. They don't realize they're doing it. Yeah. But then again, you also have the people that do know they're doing it and they just don't care. They just like, you know what, I want to just ruin your day or rain on your parade, and like whatever you said, you know what, I'm going to say something cooler or better or, more interesting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Usually people like that just think they're the smartest, funnest person in the room, and not always the case,
That seems like the person.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Let's close it up with one last one,
Yeah,
man. Passive aggressive.
Oh,
Yes.
I can't stand that, dude.
Yo,
I can't.
That's like,
I don't know. I mean, for me, you and I were so even tempered. I mean, I say that. I used to have a really bad temper, super bad. And then I think the older I got, the more I realized that didn't serve me well at all. It's never ended up well. But I think because I used to have a bad temper, my thing is like, if you're gonna be aggressive, let's be aggressive. You know what I mean? I know that sounds kind of like tough guy, but it's the truth. Like, I'd rather somebody just straight up say what they want to say, no matter what the circumstance happens after that, but then be passive about it. Because then you're just being disingenuous. You're not, you're not being truthful right now. You know, and it's hard to. I think I can let it go more so when it's somebody that I don't care about. But if it's somebody that is, within my circle, or somebody that I actually invest time into, when they're being passive aggressive, I'm like, dude, just say what you want to say. You know what I mean? Like, what are you afraid of? Like, are you afraid of hurting my feelings? Because if that's the case, then I don't know, like, maybe we should really talk about this. Versus you trying to hide whatever your intentions are. You ever get like a backhanded compliment?
Backhanded compliment?
When somebody says something and it's really not like nice. You know what I mean? Like,
probably not.
I'm trying to think, what would be a good example of a backhanded compliment? Like, like, oh yeah, you losing. Looks like you're losing some weight, and then you're like, oh, cool. Well, no.
Oh
you know what I mean? Like, like, I don't know.
Sure,
Like, or like where someone points out, like, maybe in their head they're like, well, just pointing out that you were fat or whatever, right? And maybe that wasn't even on your radar. You're like, well, actually, no, I didn't even think about that. Like, okay, well, thank you. You know, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like passive aggressive people, either they're trying to hide a message within what they're saying, or they're just saying something mean to make themselves feel better.
I mean, when I think about experiences with that, I just think initially, like what you said, just say what you want to say. Just say what that way we can actually move forward and try to figure out try to fix this or whatever I did wrong, or if it's something I did wrong, like, I don't know. And I don't know if it feels good to them, or I don't know if there's something they're just used to. I don't know if
sometimes too, like, because we tend to, a lot of people are non-confrontational. I can appreciate when people are being non-confrontational in certain settings, like at work. You don't want to be confrontational. You don't want to be that guy that's always in people's faces, saying whatever and going off the cuff on things. But at the same time, like, it's also not appreciated when you're being passive aggressive about things. Like, if there's a problem with something, like, okay, what's the problem here? You know what I mean? Like, obviously something's bothering you. Let's move past this.
Like, tell me what's going on so I can help, or
exactly. But I mean, also it's one of those things where I just feel like a lot of times passive aggressive people, they don't realize that they're being passive aggressive.
I don't think they do.
Like, it's almost subconscious, right? Where subliminally they're saying something, and then if you were to play it back, if you play it back, you're like, dude, you're being a freaking asshole right now. Like, what are you talking about?
But they don't they don't know. And it's funny because, like you said, they're saying things in their head, and they're like kind of sneakily trying to say it, but then they don't realize it's their body language is like freaking screaming at me. Like,
what do you? Okay, so is it passive aggressive when somebody gives you so not just the backhanded compliment? Like, you ever like this is a funny one. You ever have somebody like, oh, yeah, man, just trying to be like you, man. Like, hey, big guy. Hey, big guy, just trying to level up like you, bro. Is that passive aggressive?
I don't. I mean, it depends on the setting. Depends on the setting, who it is. I mean, the tone of the way that they're delivering it. It depends.
Which one kills me? The must be nice.
Oh,
must be nice. You're like, well, I actually worked really hard for this.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Right.
This was not handed to me. It is nice because I worked hard for it. Sorry you didn't.
Try it sometime.
Exactly, right? Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's gonna close it up for our what grinds my gears session.
Bro. I'm pretty sure we can revisit this again.
Oh yeah. There's gonna be more. Maybe we're gonna add more people to the combo.
For sure.
Yeah, we can talk about it. But guys, if you resonate with this, go ahead and share it, like it. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What grinds your gears? So
Absolutely.
yeah. Thanks for joining, guys.
All right. Peace.
Next time. Peace.